Well, hello and welcome back. We are continuing our series where we're looking at, if I can get back here, where we're looking at Python and at SQL Server and SQL in general, I guess. And we are building a synchronization script. And we've started with tables, we've added columns, we've added data. So in each case, this is adding things that don't exist from a source to a destination. Now, as far as tables are concerned, really there's not much there. It's either it's there or it's not. And since this is essentially a one-way synchronization, our goal is just to find tables that exist in the source and go ahead and add them into the destination. We could go vice versa, or I guess say anything that doesn't exist in the source, we want to drop that table in the destination, but I think we'll keep it. We probably will swing back around to that later as maybe a setting or something like that. But for now, I want to take that next step, which is with a table. What do we do if a column? Because we've got columns. First case is column exists in source, doesn't exist in destination. Another situation is it exists in both, but it's different. And that's what we're going to start into today. So before we had this sync rows, where we're just going to synchronize the rows from one to the other. And what we want to do this time is we're going to actually do the same thing, essentially, but we're going to do, and actually that should have been add rows, but we're going to do it with the columns. And so the way we need to come through here, where's this at? So with this one, what we're going to do is we're going to start with we've got our source, our destination databases, and then a list of tables. And that tables list, which is right here, source tables, is the list of tables from the source database. So we're just going to go through that source results, add all our tables, missing columns, sync columns, here we go. And we're going to need a couple cursors. So we're going to come in, we're going to send those in, and we're going to have a cursor for the source database. And then we're going to have two different cursors for the destination database because we're going to be spinning through that in a couple different ways. And we have this missing columns, which we really don't need. I don't know why, it's because of copy and paste error. So what we're going to do is for each table in the list, we're going to walk through. And the first thing we're going to do is going to get, and this is the source, we're going to walk through and we're going to get a description. We're going to get the details of the table in the source database. And actually what we're going to do is we're going to get it in both. So if you can see here, get the list of columns in the first, in the source, list of columns in the destination. And then we come through and we load those into source columns and destination columns. And then what we're going to do is for each column in source columns, so for source column in there, we're going to then, for each one of those, we're going to walk through the destination columns. And we're basically going to say that if destination column name, let's see, is that right? Yeah, I'm sorry. That should be destination column. For each one of those, if the destination column is equal to the source column, which is the name, then we're going to do something. Otherwise, we don't do anything at all. So basically, first what we're going to do is we're going to say, hey, if the name is the same, so we're not going to allow for name changes because we don't really have a way to track that that's the same column. So what we're going to do is we're going to go ahead and just assume that we're good other than if we have the same name. So if the name is the same, they're going to walk through and we're going to assume that we don't need to update it. And you'll sort of see as we go into it. But otherwise, what we're going to do is we're going to walk through. Let's see. So we're going through. We're going to go through the length of source column. Remember, these are arrays essentially. So we're going to get the length of source column, and then we're going to basically walk through each of them. And actually, I guess we could start it at 1. And right now we're going to print each of those. We're going to print, that should be source column, and then destination column. So we're going to print what is the details of each column. And it may be things like, we skip the name, but it could be type, we've got functions, we've got whether it's primary key or key or not, some things like that. Now, first thing we need to do is we have some instances where in either of those we're going to have and let's actually just do it like this. So we're going to do current destination equals something. Let's do that. And current source equals. Because what we need to do is we need to figure out if the type of the row, let's see, source column, because we get these a little bit differently from time to time. Sometimes they come back in strings, sometimes they come back as a byte array. So if the source, then we're going to say that the current source equals, a decode of which just basically says, let's take this. And we've seen this before. You can go look in the Python stuff. But basically, we're going to make cursource equal to a decode of that. Otherwise, cursource is just the string. And we'll just make it a string. So let's do string of source column index. And this is just so we can do some string compares and things like that. Now we're going to do the same thing with the destination. So this needs to be our destination column. And destination column and current destination. And if not, we're going to do here. And it's going to be destination column. So now what we've got is we've figured out, regardless of what we had, is we're going to, is that right? Yeah. Then we've set these two up. And what we'll see is we'll see here that these things are going to sometimes be different. So if we come in here and we do current source, I'm going to do it in the same order. So current source and current destination. Now, we've got some specialty type things. So if index is 1, then we're going to have to do something here. Let's see, we're going to go ahead and we don't need to mess with that. So if it's 1, then if the, what do we call it, current source, cursource.upper starts with that, or cursource.upper starts with that, then we have to split it up a little bit. And this is what we've seen before because of the, SRC. We've seen this because of situations where we have those like ints that have a size, or in some kinds they don't. Sometimes just straight up int, sometimes it's an int and it has a default size, which can be a problem. So we're going to fix that in both of these just to make sure that they are, we're doing an apple-to-apple comparison. And so we have to do a little bit of conversion for those. And then we don't need to worry about that. And then we're just going to go ahead and now compare the two. And let's see. Do we want this? Yeah, so we're going to say here. Oh, and this is just, actually we can do this. So we're going to say, let's get rid of this. Let's take this. So we're going to do that. Otherwise, we're going to say if these things are true, if those two are equal, if source, then if they're not equal, then we're going to have to update it, and then we're going to walk through our indexes. So then what we're going to do is say, okay, so now what do we do if we have to update it? So now what we want to do is we're going to come down here, and we're going to say, this is not going to be column row. So the name is going to be source, call source. I'm sorry, current source ID 0. So that's our name. The type is, again, we can just do, let's see, did we decoded those each time, right? So we have, we're doing the decodes here. Oh, so this is for each one. So really what we want to do, oh, this is if update. Okay, I'm sorry, if update. So name equals that. So this is going to be, let's go ahead and do it this way. Source column. Apologies, I'm sort of thinking on the fly here a little bit as I'm going through this. So name is going to be here. The column type is going to be source column 1. And we probably want to do, actually, let's do it this way. Let's do name equals this, type equals this. What else do we need? We need default. So he's going to be that. Okay, so we can do default up here. We need enable name type column type. Whoops. Where'd you go? Name type default and so table's good. So I just need column type. Let's call them column type instead. And then what I'm going to do is here, I'm going to do this real quick. So I'm going to say if it's equal to 1, then I know that the name is equal to, oops, I'm sorry, that's not going to be it. That's not going to be that. That's going to be here. And so when I walk out of this, if the index is 1, then the column type, whoops, is equal to the current source. If, I guess I can do an else here. Else, let's do elif idx equals 0. If he's 0, then the name is equal to the current source. Whoops. And so what we're going to do is we're going to build out our little string if we need to, which we don't. Yes, you could say it's a bit of a pain, but it also saves us walking through some crap later. So 0, 1. Next is the default, so 4. Then default equals current source. And let's see, column type, name, and default. Those are the 3 we need. Okay. So we really need that. So those are our 3. Do we need, yeah, because right now we're not going to worry about some of the other values, like a primary key or anything like that. So we should be good with those 3. So then that means if we do an update, so did we already get the, we don't have the default. Okay, so then we need to do the default thing. Then we need to do, if those are in there, then we're going to change up our default. And then we do an alter table, we're going to print, and we're going to update. So let's see what happens. So if we run that, let's do, yeah, we'll just sync rows. We're going to leave that at 10 right now. And let's go see what this runs out to be. Okay, so we've got an issue somewhere in here, which is in the none. Okay, so alter table. Oh, so we need to deal with that none before. We had that. Where did we run into that? Here we go. Oh, so let's update. So if, let's just do this because I think this is just for the default maybe. So if default equals none, then default let's do this. Do it this way. Else default equals that. We're going to blank it back out. So if he's in there or he's in there, that's good. Let's do this. See, so if default is not equal to none and default not equal to that. Okay, there we go. Let's see if that works. Okay, so no, it doesn't. Blah, blah, blah. Oh, we're still getting default none. Is that right? Oh, it's probably here. Let's try that. Let's just say if default, because otherwise it's not. Let's see what happens here. Nope, that's still not going to give it to us. Okay, if he's not equal to null, then default should be equal to that. So let's try this again. Let's see what happens. So we're still getting this. We're getting all these nuns in here. Okay. Alter table, modify. Oh, we're not getting the name. So we didn't get the name right. Name. We didn't get name. So we're going to say, which we know right up here, name is never going to be that problem. So name is just going to be equal to destination column 0. Actually, it's going to be source column just to be consistent. Whoops. And now we're going to get that. There we go. And now we're getting missing columns is not defined. Oh, we've got that somewhere, and that's in sync columns, which we don't need. Oh, I probably moved that from the wrong place. Where's it looking for missing columns? Oh, here we go. Nope, that's right. All right, missing columns. There we go. I've got that there. Oh, here we go. Sync columns does not mean that, right? Yep. So if we do it, there we go. And so we get all our inserts, we fly through, and we're going to see some stuff here, for example, where there's a varchar 2, but here it was a line it shouldn't be. And we're going to go through here, and we're going to see some interesting little changes here. So we're going to go through next time around and track these down, try to see what's going on. We're going to try to get this a little bit better of a debug because I don't think it's getting us exactly like it's supposed to. For example, like lookup type default undefined. we probably need to deal with that. So we've got a couple special things to deal with. We're going to track that down next time, though. So go out there and have yourself a great day, a great week, and we will talk to you next time.